And try again here. Welcome to our city council meeting July 9th. Appreciate everybody in here. We'll go ahead and begin. I had a start with an opening remarks volunteered by David Jean and a pledge of allegiance. Let's see who'd like to do the pledge of allegiance. Nelson, count. Can you do that?
Heavenly Father, come before the beginning of our city council meeting today. We thank you for the opportunity to be here to get together and be able to talk about issues in our city and be able to come up with solutions and be able to move forward with them. We're thankful for those that take time to be here, to be a part of this, and be able to give input when asked. We ask you to please bless us all to have a good mind, be able to be sound in our judgments, and many of us counsel before us with the mayor, be able to make those good decisions. We pray for these things in Jesus Christ.
Amen. All right. Please repeat the pledge after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Let's do a roll call. Start with Jim.
Jim Chase. Jared Peterson. Nelson Abbott.
Ty Ellis.
Trisha Thomas.
Paul Crook.
And if we can get an approval of the agenda and adjusted time frame where we started at 7:05.
So moved.
Is that a second? Second by Jared. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Any public forum?
Laura.
Okay, Laura, you're welcome to make any statement you'd like. Keep it a couple minutes and just make sure it's an informative statement.
Do I need to stand?
You can stand or sit or
Okay, I'd rather sit.
we're all pretty casual here, so.
So I'd just like to start out saying I've been reading the minutes from the past city councils for the past couple of years, trying to catch up on where you guys have all been. I am wanting to let you know I'm concerned as a citizen about the idea of Utopia or similar services. The idea of paying $65 a month for internet, to me, I know how to shop around, and right now I'm paying $35 a month. So paying $65 seems weird. And I would hate to see the city bonded for such a thing where you'd have to pay for all the citizens regardless of whether they want to use it, and I don't want to use it, just letting you know. And I'm just one. But I thought I'd come and make that known. I also noticed that you guys are planning on working on the piping or the water system, and I think that's a great idea. One thing that I'm concerned about is long-term emergency planning. And the city's wells, as I understand, are run off of electricity from the local power plant. Or am I incorrect in that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there any long-term backup plan for if there's a major catastrophe and those power lines are down or the plant is out for an extended period of time? To keep water trickling into people's homes at a survivable rate?
Well, keep going and then I'll.
That's my question.
All right, so I would love to talk to you more about that. I don't know if you're planning on hanging around a little bit, but I'd love to have conversations about both of those issues, frankly,
Okay.
with you. If you're going to be around, this is going to be a rather short meeting, I hope, so. If
Well,
you
I'm
can,
planning on being around.
if you can hang around, then I'll talk to you afterwards.
I don't know how long the meeting's gonna last. I have
20
not
minutes.
shown up because I have a tight schedule on Tuesdays.
Okay.
But
If it doesn't work tonight, will you get with Royce and I'll meet with you on Friday sometime too?
sure, my Fridays are open.
Because I'm perfectly happy to discuss
I may
both
have to
issues.
disappear for a little bit and then come back,
Okay.
but yeah.
If we're still here, I'd be happy to talk with you.
There's a lot of other sub-issues concerning that same issue,
Yeah.
but that's the bigger issue.
Great. I'll be happy to talk through all those things
Okay.
with you. All right, thank you. Any others? No. Okay, great. Appreciate that. Item number 1 on the agenda will be Jeremy Witt
Yep.
on the Smart property.
Yeah, so
Time
essentially,
yours.
that's, so we've been in talks with Smarts on that commercial, well, the piece that we proposed to bring in as commercial. We have permission from them to talk about what you guys think would be the proper use of that. That's kind of what we're trying to gather a picture of what you're gonna wanna see. Basically, we agree with how you guys already have a plan for how the commercial zone should come in, where we aren't very clear as how we should buffer that. And I think right now it's kind of zoned for 30-acre lots,
Yeah,
or something a little bit bigger than the houses that are behind it.
15,000, I think, R115 is what it's,
So it kind of creates, we have some maps here.
I mean, it's not actually zoned because it's, needs to be annexed still, but that
So there's-
shows roughly.
And then we just kind of overlaid some houses on there. For what we were thinking, seems to fit. So if you go off of how it's zoned right now, it'd be smaller size lots and then bigger lots and then commercial, which we think creates an issue for those owners wanting to buy there. I mean, it kind of seems like,
There's two maps
It
for
would-
you guys.
yeah, there's one with just
And
the
then there's
zone.
5, another one for those who can have one of those as well.
So we're just kind of wondering, does that make sense to do something like that?
So this is R112.
So,
Yeah.
so, is okay to hear me if I speak for a second?
Absolutely.
Okay, so obviously this isn't in the city right now, right?
Correct.
It's in the county.
Yeah.
And so, and
Correct.
when I read the general plan,
Yes.
it talked about this area specifically.
Yes, it
And
did.
it said a portion of it would probably be commercial.
Yes.
And then it explained that the R112 zone that had been used in other parts of the city said probably wouldn't be used again.
Right.
Was kind of the way it read.
Yes.
And so when we're looking at this, and then as Jeremy was kind of speaking, normally you see a kind of a commercial area, and then you see a residential, you see a transition, or at least the same. But you don't want to see like smaller lots, because these are quarter acres all around it, all this whole area.
Yeah.
And then if, according to the general plan, then it'd be like, 3rd acres, so in between that and then this commercial. And what we would like to propose, and that's kind of what this map shows, is if we kept similar to what is already there, but just kind of continue that, how that could look. So this is me doing this really rough, and I apologize, I'm not a very good artist, but that's what this would show right here, would be the continuation of the quarter acre zoning through, and how that could lay out using the currently stubbed streets and everything like that, and then using the commercial portion there. So that was kind of what, as we looked at this and as we kind of really thought through it, that's generally what you see in planning and things like that, just because of the fact that we go from quarters to thirds then to commercial is kind of sometimes awkward, and we wanted to kind of get the council's feel on that. And then the idea for the commercial portion is that we did already have some initial conversations. A gas station would probably be a good use on that corner, a convenience store, and what you're seeing on there, again, is just kind of a representation of a Maverick station in another part of the county. We show how that can fit. And then an upscale grocery store, kind of like, I don't know if you guys have seen, there's a Myers store that's in Highland. That's kind of the idea that we'd like. And we think it'd be a good fit for the community and something that probably would be pretty successful on a location like that.
Yeah.
And that's also what you see kind of transposed on the property there. You also see there's another about 5.5 acres that is kind of open, and that's kind of more the idea of, okay, well, you don't have everything planned,
Yeah.
but these are some initial thoughts.
Yeah.
Kind of wanted to get the council's temperature on these sort of things. Is that right, Jeremy?
Yeah. So, yeah, go ahead. Thoughts before I say anything?
I'll just tell you, I would say no, and only because you're the 4th person to bring this idea to us. And if we said no to the
Yeah.
other 3, in fairness to them, I don't feel that would be honest to say. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they also wanted to reduce the size as well.
Okay.
And, I mean, I live right by here,
Yeah.
and my neighbors, my house would be 8, so yes.
So in the alternative to that, what I read in the general plan didn't necessarily say that the whole 18 acres couldn't be commercial though. Because it just said that when it came in, that was what they would anticipate would be a mix of residential and commercial. I think that was more dependent on what they
Yeah.
thought the market would be able to bear.
Well, part of the problem is
No.
that, the reason why it kind of looks like it does here is because the homes that are there now, there was less, I guess there's less not necessarily identified for commercial, and so they were not happy that we were gonna butt commercial up and said, well, we've got enough space to put small commercial and create a buffer area where people would know
Yeah, going.
that they're buffering up against a piece of commercial property when they purchase.
So that was the buffer.
So that's why
Okay.
those homes are there, is because we needed that buffer, and that's part of the reason why it's the way it is. And then we took all the PUD stuff out, right?
Yeah.
So the smallest lots now are
And part of the reason
15.
for that is we're limited on connections with Payson City. So if we give some more to you, then
We're taking from
Yeah.
we're
somewhere
taking
else.
somewhere else, and that's a problem. And kind of what I've told other people is, I mean, I'm in construction and.
Sure.
I mean, square footage is square footage, and if you're, I don't know how many more lots this gets you, right? But if you're having to do added infrastructure, all that stuff, added frontage, all that stuff, I think your 6 is just 84 acres.
Yeah, 'cause,
But-
I mean, I think that the minimum frontage on these is 80, and I think
Yeah.
on the other ones it's about 100.
And the only place it doesn't pencil out, if you're actually the developer and builder,
Right.
I can see where a couple more houses might get you a little more money, but that's, I mean, that's kind of what we've been telling everybody. And that's from feedback from doing the general plan. I mean, I heard all this when I was on the planning commission, and that's why we went down the road we did, but yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with it all going commercial. But
Yeah, I also wouldn't have a problem with that. And the reason for that is when this was all zoned as a PUD, the general plan
Did show it.
showed all of this as well as the Delaware-shaped piece on the other side of the road being commercial. And the reason that those homes, there isn't a road behind them is that was your buffer between the commercial. But then at some point in time between 2006 to now, that was taken out completely, I think probably because somebody didn't want commercial in their neighborhood, per se. But I think that, you know, providing a buffer is definitely part of what needs to occur there. You know, if we're gonna have commercial growth, I think we should have smart commercial growth where, you know, I don't necessarily want to be like some cities where, you know, they give a tax incentive, a commercial entity comes in, all of a sudden they gotta hire a whole nother law enforcement officer, and they're, you know, that's 100,000 plus a year cost for the city.
Right.
And unless you're bringing in 100,000 in
Right.
additional revenue, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
So, I think at the end of the day, it's probably less about what's gonna generate for the city in terms of tax dollars,
Yeah.
as much as it is what benefits does it provide the residents who have the ability now to just go down to the corner gas station and get gas and milk instead of having to run clear into North Salem to get those things, or into Payson.
And, I mean, another thought is
Yeah.
sometimes when they're doing big commercial, sometimes the buffer is not necessarily residential.
Right.
It can be smaller professional office space.
Less
you know,
intense
where-
commercial.
Where you have like the high traffic on the corner,
Yeah.
and then you move into this, you know, quieter stuff.
Okay.
And
We
I
were
think
kind
that
of
that's
thinking along the
something
lines
that.
like RV storage or something like that, where
We thought about that too.
Yeah, so, I mean, and, you know, office space, maybe something that is needed up here, I don't know. I just don't have ideas, but.
Okay.
Yep.
But you would definitely, so doing all commercial wouldn't necessarily be off the table if the use that was along that edge was maybe less intense commercial? Is that what is it?
For me, it would be off the table.
Okay, so
I gave
any
my
commercial
word
use.
to my neighbors that I would always vote no.
Okay.
Because they did not coming into it. Apparently, some of them did not know that it was gonna be commercial because like Nelson had mentioned. And I gave my word on that, so.
Okay. Well,
But I
appreciate
don't
that.
have a problem with the gas
Yeah.
station. I think it's a rite of passage to walk to the gas station as kids, so.
That's how you do, actually.
Like, I actually don't-
Jeremy and I talked about that thing. I said, where'd these kids go when you went to rent your bike to go get it? You know, a soda or a
They
candy
ride
bar.
over to the golf course clubhouse and
They
try.
They probably do, right?
That's
Yeah.
actually that's what my kids have done.
But I think it would be nice, like, I don't have a problem with that, but I do think, in fairness to them, that residential buffer would be.
So what if if it ends up like it's RV storage and you just do a tasteful fence, like a brick wall, something that's not, shrubbery, something to buffer that, would that be something your neighbors would still be against, or?
I can ask, I'd be happy
And
to
that's
ask.
almost better than having another house's backyard facing yours, right? It's more private.
Well, I think the reality is whatever businesses go in here are gonna be what Elk Ridge wants and
Right.
will use. I mean, you've got a, I mean, it may seem harsh, but we've got a dead-end community. I mean, you're not, people aren't traveling through, you're going here.
But we're not a destination.
No.
And so.
We're home.
So you're,
Right.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
what's gonna be here is, and, I mean, they've done studies, but in my opinion, you know, convenience stores, smaller shops.
Well, Jeremy had an
Professional
idea.
office.
Jeremy had an
stuff,
idea earlier, he
you know,
has
that
a,
sort of thing.
he has a friend that has a pizza shop in Nevada that would love to come out here and do a little local, really kind of nice pizza shop. And I thought, that would be a great thing for the community, something that's kind of known and, you know, really done well, and something like that would be great right there. You know?
The other issue you're gonna have if you do a gas station, and I'm just gonna throw this out,
Yeah.
is if you sell alcohol and cigarettes, I don't know how people are gonna react to that. I don't have a problem with
Yeah.
it, but I think most people do. Isn't that why the golf course is also in Payson too, because of the, no?
No.
That's a lie, that's a rumor.
No, it's in Payson because Payson built it.
I was gonna say, the garbage cans at the golf course are full of beer cans.
Oh, yeah, they are. Hey, if we're trying to make revenue, I'm all about it.
Yeah, it's just
They're gonna either
tax it.
go down to Salem or
Yeah.
here, so, but I know a lot of people do have that problem.
Yeah, I don't
So
know how
that's
many gas
something-
stations would even survive without those.
So I think that's something to
Pretty
think
tough.
about, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there for you.
That's fair.
Because I
Thank
think
you.
people, I don't want picketing. You don't want picketing.
Touche.
Is there any way to make these a little bit bigger? Because you're not using quite a bit of land right here. Is that a possibility?
So I was just trying to really kind of function within the
It's all
street
covered.
layout and things like
Yeah,
that.
it's all in the general plan.
Yeah, to see if you come down here, it does get a little more tricky to get your roads to line up when you're trying to take quarter and third acre,
Mhm.
unless you have exactly 2 acres
We could-
frontage. I
we
mean,
could do
where it equates to an exact
Road
there.
road width, because you got 20 feet less, so for each one, there's.
Matt gets
a-
creative on
Well,
those.
just to like make it work. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, in all fairness, I mean, on the plan here, it shows annexed future commercial.
Mhm.
And that was the general plan that was redone last
Yeah,
year.
this right here,
The entire-
except for the
the entire
R112, matches exactly what's in the general plan. It was just,
Yeah.
this was a little more intense residential than what was shown. That was the only difference, really.
I remember
You
Mayor
know.
Shelley tried to get us to zone that residential just so we could keep commercial out.
No, no, he wanted commercial. didn't
No,
he?
You, he wanted us
The
to
other
zone
side
it
of the road.
residential.
Delaware,
Oh, the other, yeah, you're right, okay.
because then you have a big road in between a canal on the other side.
Does it have to stay commercial?
It's not even ours, is
It's
it?
not
No, I know, but I'm saying, what if he came with just only houses?
Well, he could,
Well, the goal, I mean, that's, if we
I
have
don't think
any
that'd be
commercial,
okay.
if we have any hope to have any kind of.
It's right there.
It's
Is
right
this
there.
That's the spot,
Are these
right?
viable in our
That's
city
the
though?
And
Are
we have a
these-
gas
It's the
station that
only
would love
place-
to be here, by
it's
the
the
way.
only place that makes
You
sense
do?
too.
Yeah, we have someone that we've talked to, who's looked at the site and said this would be something we'd be very interested in. They haven't made us a promise, right? But they've said that this is a site that they would love to pursue.
That's where we came into this, is me moving up here, realizing that this probably is a need here.
He said, we're making
It
it.
is.
Hey, we're fantastic.
It's
You know what I mean? Like,
well,
I just think
it's been tough when you count rooftops, right?
Yeah.
It's been tough go,
Right.
but it's slowly developed, fastly developing out here.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Salem's-
if you're gonna
Salem's
widen that
adding to it,
road and
too.
this road like you're talking about, and the traffic's gonna route from up there down through the cutoff, I mean, this is a good spot.
yeah,
I mean,
when Elk Ridge
look-
Drive goes out to the freeway, you're gonna have a lot of people driving over from Woodland Hills and taking
Yeah,
that short.
That's kind of
straight
what
out.
we're, that's what we're counting on.
That's what we're
to be
counting
honest.
on.
I mean, that's the plan, right?
Yeah.
If they ever built it.
The grocery store we're talking about too would actually bring some people from Salem, Payson. Because if you've been to that Myers, they specialize in higher end meats and things like that. They have everything. It's a nice little store. It's surprising, but they have everything you need in there. You kind of wouldn't think they would, but it's, you go to the butcher and you talk to a real professional butcher and you get good meat. And this kind of could be supported. Highlander does really well.
Yeah. And it's right next to a Ridley's grocery
Well,
store.
it has to be
there.
different than just the
Starts.
average.
Yeah,
Nobody's gonna come up the hill,
Right.
right?
And it has kind of just a little bit of a different,
Mhm.
like, homemade tortilla chips. Just, you know, and almost, I don't want to say Trader Joe's because they have a whole different connotation, but that kind of a feel a little
Yeah.
bit where it's just the food's a little more different, you know what I mean?
Kind of like the Harmons in downtown Salt Lake.
Oh, kind of that,
Kind of.
yeah, but you get it, that kind of feel, right? Where it's, Yeah, it costs a little more, but it's a little bit
It's not
better,
so much.
you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly, just that kind of stuff.
in their bakery.
And it's really, it's a small place, but that's everything you need, it's kind of deceptive, you know? you
Well,
walk in.
it'd have to be, I mean, if Elk Ridge doesn't support it,
Yeah.
I
it's
know,
not gonna
that's,
go. And
that
so-
is a real concern that
So
I know a lot of
you've
people
gotta,
have.
but, you know, somebody's willing to put their neck out there, or, you know, able to cater their business and change it to where it thrives, I think it can.
Well, what would be nice too about a smaller grocery store is if for whatever reason that fails, you don't have this massive Smith's building that you're trying to put somebody back into. It could be
That's one of our
adapted to be some other
concerns, right?
space,
That's
yeah.
probably one of the biggest concerns.
We don't want to have these fail, right? So
Yeah.
we want to be really intelligent about what we do.
Yeah, it'd have to be a
because-
building that could be used for other things.
Yeah, otherwise we
Smart.
just end up with a blight spot. Right.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Neighborhood gangs will start joining.
Yeah.
Then we're ended up
There
trying to
wasn't.
get rid of that, whoever can be there.
But our intent tonight was to come before you guys and look at this kind of 18 acres as a whole, because that's the way the Smarts prefer to sell it.
Mhm.
And so, you know, we're working with them, and so anyone that does, like, it sounds like others have already come before you, but that was kind of the plan is, okay, how does this all work together? Because
Yeah.
we have to look at it, and I know you guys want to see it the same way,
Yeah.
not just little 2 acres at a time, but what is this all going to be?
Well, and we do, and we spend a lot of time in this area in the general plan,
I'm sure.
right? This and
Yeah.
across the street, right?
Yeah.
To make sure that works,
Yep.
right? And does what we want it to do, and I think that, I mean, I don't know what we would have done better. Nobody gave any better ideas.
Yeah. I think the only do-over would have been make it from here down commercial.
Well, that's a do-over long ago, though.
But you know, I mean, in all fairness, I mean, Smarts, when they bought that property, they wanted to come up here and build a house and have horse property.
Oh, yeah.
And then it didn't fit within our plan. They started looking at it going, well, that doesn't really work. And so that's why they've decided to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because I've talked to them 3 or 4 times over the years.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
so at the end of the day, from what I hear, and I don't want to, I mean, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm kind of hearing that it kind of needs to be that 3rd acre situation right around there, and then the commercial kind of, as it shows kind of in the orange and red, but instead of having 12, it'd be 15.
Just because that
And
would
that's
be,
kind of
that's the
what you guys
honest
can
thing to
support.
do when you tell, you know what
Well,
I'm saying?
100%, and I just want to make, we wanted the clarity before we did anything from you guys.
But listen, no one has brought forth the commercial and this, so you,
The
that's a new
annexation, we
idea.
want to bring it all in, have you guys do it, tell us what we can do, and
Frankly, I'd
kind of
like to
get,
see it come that way.
right, and then we could
And that's.
work with our partners.
That's what we'd like
Working with
to
the
see.
smarts, they don't want to do anything else.
Because this is an important corner for us because of the commercial potential,
Right.
right? But we want to be really, you know, respectful of those that are already there
Right.
and, you know, kind of just make this work
Sure.
as the unique spot that it is.
Yeah, my only hesitation on the thirds is that I'm no land salesman, but it just seems like that'd be harder to sell. Being that it's right next to the commercial that's happening now. So if we could try to come up with a professional use that doesn't tick off everybody that lives there. And I don't know if maybe they could Facebook us and kind of give us what they think it should be, or
I
we
don't
can
think
open
you wanna
it.
go down that.
Yeah, exactly.
A fake account that they can comment on.
I'll just give you my account.
You've never seen
I mean,
40
I'll
businesses.
say that one of the persons that lives here approved this.
Yeah.
But that person is also more open-minded than almost everyone else on that street.
We know we can't make everybody happy, right?
No,
We
you
never
The
do.
thing is, the people that are gonna be screaming and yelling about it are the ones that'll use it the most. That's the reality of
Yeah.
what happened. But it's true, isn't it?
But that's part of what Jeremy was talking about though with regard to the storage. I know that you guys passed an ordinance recently about on-street RV parking and things like that. It seems like with that, you almost, being able to keep them still in your city and have a place for it almost makes sense.
And it wouldn't impact the sewer, so we didn't have to worry about connections there or a bunch of water or anything like that. And there's a lot of examples we showed, those done really tastefully and just great where you can't, it's not like some that'd be yard full of.
It's not like, well, we didn't have enough money to finish putting the storage in there, so we got this back.
Yeah.
You know, we got that, you can park it, and we're gonna charge you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, but out front, you could do a really nice landscaping
And
with solid
probably
walls.
some
You know what I mean?
storage,
There's
but I don't think there's enough people here to support a huge storage
There
complex.
isn't.
Like, we can't use that whole L shape, we kinda looked into that, it's just too much, and we can fill it, so it'd be a waste of space, so. But some of that could be RV storage, and then, you know, do a nice area for it, maybe on that, might be like the east side, on that shorter strip there, we could do something there.
Especially if it was covered in storage where you park your trailer out. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
big thing in St. George now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places
And
like
let's
that.
face it, out.
And I think that's the way you hide it the best,
Yeah, you're
is it's covered and
Keep everybody
and
nice.
They would get to see it.
That,
And I know this is informal, so our next step would be to kind of evaluate and then make a formal application with you guys
Yeah.
for annexation and kind
yeah.
of, and, you know, with that, present a
Start.
concept plan that you guys will be able to look at the same time and see how everything kind of shakes out.
Start with planning commission and
Yeah.
start working through that process, right?
So when that comes in, what all is usually required in that? Is water gonna have to come with it, or?
Yes, based on use.
But the commercial's kinda hard though, right?
Not annexation, but when they,
When you take it to
when
final.
you pull it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Each sees a little different.
Yeah, because they'll go in and they'll figure out, okay, well, you've got X amount of residential connections and
Yeah.
here's acreage, you need this much water, commercial, you need this much,
Yeah, whatever you do the building on that, right, because it's kind of based on.
based on how you
Exactly.
you
And
plan.
they have, you know, the numbers,
Okay.
residential equivalent units or whatever they're called, I can't remember what they're called.
Yeah, ERD.
Mhm.
So Tricia, maybe we could talk to you offline if about maybe if we have any commercial ideas, you could just talk.
Ask my neighbors.
Yeah.
I'm not going on Facebook.
Well, be careful, just be careful how you,
Yep.
I know, it's walking.
commercial has a bad connotation.
Wait till you
right?
have if you have a concept.
Okay, that's fair.
Then,
Yeah, okay, perfect.
Well, the
Then I
question
think
is,
it's
there's
just
more
something they can
parking
see, right?
stalls here
Yeah.
than there would be at the
My,
park.
my question is, if
Yeah.
this, through 2 years of planning this, nobody came forward and now it's zoned as potential commercial,
oh, but
why,
listen,
why we haven't heard that from anybody? Any issues?
who here was there at the meeting when they were screaming?
About what?
There wasn't even, they're standing around it. Were you here?
Probably.
When was
Yeah.
that?
That was before your time.
Yeah.
Before your time.
Mayor Ellis
It was
was there.
very, very heated.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, they don't want that.
They do not want that. And in fairness to them, if
But-
things have changed, like, let's give them the benefit of the doubt, maybe, you know what I mean, maybe there, so that buffer, I think that's, we can cover ourselves.
Yeah.
And
I
hopefully
mean,
it
they're,
can
you
be
know-
successful for you and work your
Right,
time.
I mean, the
'cause-
people that have butt to it are the most impacted, and they're the
Yeah.
ones that have the strongest voice, and they should be listened to, and.
I
We
mean, I
did,
don't-
we did a survey and we asked people,
Yeah.
you know, do you want commercial in the city?
Oh,
They
no,
all
no,
said
no. They
yes.
were worried about.
How close do you want it to be to your house? About a mile away. Our city's a mile wide. So, nobody,
love it.
so nobody really wants it,
Yeah.
right? Because they don't want it next to them.
Yeah, not in my backyard.
So we have to be respectful for
Yeah,
that as
I
a
get
community, a bedroom community.
Yes.
Well, that property's set up right for that, though. You
It
push
is set
everything to
up
the corner, and honestly, there's too much land there to use it all as commercial.
There
So
is,
I think
and that's
it
what
makes
we
sense to
thought.
offer it.
Plus, there's more opportunity on the other side.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And you're not gonna get a big commercial base up here. It just doesn't work. You have to get the specialized kinds of things,
Mhm.
right? The gas station works because everybody's got that need
Right.
nearby, right?
Yeah.
But then when you start into professional offices, then you have to really start looking.
Right.
Where are you drawing from, right?
Right.
If you're starting to draw them out of Payson
Yeah.
and Salem, then you start, then you're starting to, make it a little tougher
Right.
to stay in business. And
Absolutely.
then you end up doing a lot of turnover and turnover and turnover to try to keep it filled,
I
right?
agree.
Like a strip mall or something,
Yeah.
right? That
Yeah,
just is,
it's
that's
just
just
not
not
ready.
gonna happen.
In
You
my
don't have enough
imagination, it's
beds.
not ready, you know?
not enough rooftops,
That's what they say.
Okay.
right?
We really appreciate the input tonight. That gave us a lot of direction, and I know it's kind of short notice, so thanks, Royce, for putting us on there, everyone else. I mean, thank
Well,
you.
we'd like to see this come in and according to the plan and see if we can't do something there. 'Cause
Okay.
It is a nice spot,
It is.
right? It would work good for a
Mhm.
small commercial area.
I would love a gas station nearby. I would love that.
Yeah.
I don't, I'm on empty right now. I think I intend to. That's, if you try to sell beer, people are gonna,
They'll,
I'm from Idaho where they sell.
all right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate that, yeah. You can work with Royce and if you want them to know about the application process and next
Okay.
steps and that, just work with them.
Okay,
Or
thank
to
you.
the office, Laura or somebody, right?
Thank you guys
All
very
right,
much.
thank you,
Appreciate it.
appreciate that. All right, item number 2, fire mitigation property funding discussion and decision. So, we'd like to go ahead and move forward with the purchase of the property. This it's currently owned by Susan Hunter. I think that's who we've been working with, right? At the negotiated price, and of course, that will be refunded by the state based off of the fire mitigation funding. So I don't know if anybody has any comments about that. Any concerns about purchasing that piece of property? Intentions, what to do? I think you're all pretty well aware of everything down there, what we're doing, right?
I think
We already used it once, right?
Yeah.
We made a big cut across it, and actually we used it very advantageously over the spring runoff, right? Because that was where we did most of the containment, other than the stuff we put on the east side of the road. That's where we did most of that containment right there.
That property kept us
It was
on.
amazing how well
Yeah.
that.
For
Piece of
And
property.
I mean, even if, I think it will happen, but if NRCS takes longer, so.
Yeah,
It gives us the opportunity to do something now.
something,
Yeah, rather than,
Permanent.
Just-
Instead of,
have both arms
Even if it's just
behind
a
our back.
instead of
run.
tiptoeing in there going, you know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, ask for forgiveness after, no.
Yeah.
Let's get this done.
It was a little bit unfortunate what happened there, but
None of us were
But,
correcting that one.
no, but at the end of the day, right, the one thing I will make sure that everybody understands, of course, is that that piece of property will be used for mitigation, right? Fire mitigation, right? So, because that's what the intention of the state money is. But I don't know if that, I don't really have, I thought a lot about it, and I don't have a big concern there. Because I know that that's, talking with Mickelson, and, I mean, that's gonna probably be the only area we do a basin.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure we'll get any property up in the association to do it. So that will likely be the only basin that we have. Any comments? Because I'm looking for a motion to be authorized the purchase of this piece of property for the negotiated price, and I don't think I need anything to sign that agreement, because that really doesn't happen unless they approve it anyway, so.
All right, well, with that in mind, I make a motion that we approve the purchase of property serial number 30-077-0044 for the purpose of fire flood mitigation purposes, with the funds allocated to us by the state.
Great, so we have a motion on the table, we need a second. Or is there other discussion before we vote? Okay, we need a round poll vote on this?
Let's just do it.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and poll vote. Jim, or Paul, we'll start with you.
Aye.
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 Great. Motion carries. Unanimously. Thank you, appreciate that. We have item number 3, we have a Gladstone View Estate acceptance into durability for Plat B.
Everything like what they do.
Dave's got his John Hancock on there,
You sure does.
right? So everything's completed and it's entrance into durability,
Mm-hmm. We get the 1 year out of it.
right? So if there's no concerns, I need to have someone move on that. Any concerns?
No? Okay, I make a motion that we accept into durability Gladstone View Estates Phase B, effective July 3rd, 2019.
Second.
Jim seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, passing. final matter is going to be approval of city minutes, council minutes on June 25th. Any concerns, any corrections?
Yes, I have one.
Okay,
On the approval of the city
what
council.
page are you on?
Page 3,
Page 3,
You gotta state these things.
line 5, or item 4.
line 9, oh, line 5?
Well, it's
Well,
4.
whatever.
Yeah, May 14th, I didn't vote yes.
He abstained.
I abstained.
Oh, yeah,
because I
yeah,
wasn't
because
here.
that's out of town.
Did I not just say that to you? Did you
You
abstain
have to
on
do that.
those?
Yeah.
That's pretty still Trevor.
Good catch. You get that? Any others? That was a short night.
It was.
All we do is approve minutes.
That was a... Okay,
I motion that we approve the city council minutes for June 25th, 2019 with the changes stated.
I'll second.
okay, all seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Can we get a motion to adjourn? Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?